Ladies and gentlemen, as you've probably already heard, some really amazing news. CNN has settled its lawsuit. Well, has settled with Nick Sandmann. This is the young man, the Trump supporter, who they deliberately and intentionally tried to paint in a negative light regarding a story involving a Native American man. And it's important to also remember that this is part of an $800 million lawsuit in total lawsuits against the Washington Post, NBC, and CNN. In total, Sandmann was seeking $800 million in damages from the Washington Post, NBC, and CNN. So Sandmann, who was wearing a Make America Great Again hat in a video of the incident, sued the network, so CNN, for $275 million in May over its reporting, saying CNN was, quote, vilifying and bullying him, and had twisted the story to fit an anti-Trump agenda. So CNN just settled on a $275 million lawsuit. Now, something tells me that they have very likely either some form of liability insurance or some form of, coverage where they can pay out settlements. I don't think that he settled for anything less. This is just I'm assuming. I don't think he settled for anything less than $10 million. I mean, give me your thoughts below. What they did to him was horrendous. By the way, on H.A. Goodman's other channel, I've made myself a promise. Every segment I do on my main channel, this channel you're watching right now with around 150,000 subs, I will do a segment on H.A. Goodman's other channel. I want to grow that. I want to grow that to 20 to 30,000 in the next couple of months. So I'm doing a segment now. I'll do another one on H.A. Goodman's other channel talking about a whole bunch of other things, and I'll be a little bit more myself on that channel. But this is really interesting, and it's just another loss. You can look at the people and entities that have tried to go after Trump. Jussi Smollett didn't work out. Michael Cohen didn't work out. Stormy Avenatti, Eric Schneiderman. Don't know if you remember Eric Schneiderman. Al Franken. Then you have Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, because we found out about their love life when we didn't even know who they were, and writing anti-Trump text messages. I just listed 8 people right now. Now, Andrew McCabe is still under criminal investigation. He should be getting indicted anytime soon. He only lied 3 times under oath with the intent to deceive. Now there's Kevin Kleinsmith, an FBI official that was all over the FISA documents that were completely doctored, filled with 17 examples of falsified statements and omitting exculpatory evidence. They call it inaccuracies. They're deliberate attempts at deceiving FISA judges. So that's 10 people I just named right now, from Hollywood celebrities to attorneys to FBI officials. That's 10 people. If I really wanted to think about it, you could probably say, okay, there's probably a lot more than 10 people who went up against Trump the past couple of years and it didn't work out. But the interesting thing here, ladies and gentlemen, is that they tried to go after a young man in a MAGA hat to get to Trump. This was about basically hurting anyone in the way of their narrative against Trump, and they continue to lose. So you can add CNN to this. $275 million. They settled. Now, a really, really interesting take. There's an attorney. I don't have Twitter, but sometimes I find out like what people are talking about. You don't need a Twitter account. So I do not have a Twitter account. And I don't have a Facebook account. But There's an attorney contributor to the National Review. He said CNN didn't settle with Sandman because they were guaranteed to lose at trial. In fact, given lax U.S. defamation laws, even against non-public figures, which Sandman was, they could still have won. They settled because the discovery process would have been horrifying for them. Wow. So that's interesting. Could you imagine the discovery process for the Washington Post, for NBC? So that they're going to settle also. They're going to have to settle, or they'll get the internal communication. So imagine what it was worth to CNN to settle with Sandman. Not sure what the amount was, rather than make the internal communications of execs, editors, reporters, and anchors available in a public proceeding. There was probably some reputationally toxic stuff. That was the calculus. And good for the kid for going out and getting his money. What the media, CNN among others, did to him was atrocious. They tried to tarnish his name. They tried to, even Bill Maher got into it, insulted him. Social media was just lit up with memes and insults, and he had threats against him. And this is the Democratic Party. And it's 100% political. Because you don't see many people. I can tell you, look, I've been on CNN, I've been on MSNBC. I've been on both of those networks twice, actually. In 2016, when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. I am now a very proud, happy Trump supporter. His foreign policy is infinitely better than President Obama's. Ask the people of Libya. President Obama toppled a regime, and just endless strife and chaos and turmoil the past 10 years since that failed NATO intervention. He literally resulted in the destruction of a country. Trump did not do that. President Obama, they basically completely forgot about the destruction of Libya. Media and Democrats, they didn't care. They didn't care when it was, when it devolved into civil conflict. They didn't care. And with Trump, it's like they just have this selective memory. Even Joe Biden. Joe Biden's hilarious. He's like, well, look, Trump is unfit. He's unfit for president. And it's like, well, you got us into that region of the world with your horrible vote. He voted for Iraq. He voted alongside Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld. But I digress. CNN settles lawsuit with Covington Catholic student. Okay, so what happened, what took place, was a deliberate attempt at tarnishing the name of a young person. This young man and his family fought back. A great deal of credit to the attorneys as well. They did a fantastic job. And the great thing about what Sandman did is that he not only fought back, but he immediately went after. He immediately went after the media and let them know the attorneys were pretty much like 2 weeks after the whole thing, became like this internet sensation in a very bad way. The attorneys went on Fox News or Fox, different other shows, and stated they were going to take CNN, the Washington Post, and NBC to court. It's a total of $800 million. And they won. And they did so. They immediately let everyone know what they were doing, which is a great thing. They didn't They didn't shy away from going up against a nefarious media machine. This is Daily Caller. CNN agrees to settle with student Nick Sandmann. CNN reportedly agreed to settle. Okay, Nick Sandmann on Tuesday. The amount of the settlement is not known. According to a local news outlet Fox 19, the attorney for Sandmann cited the, quote, emotional distress, damaged reputation, and distress to his family that he has been through. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. This is a young man who was insulted, threatened. His family was threatened. Every day on social media. I think you even there were even celebrities calling for people to physically assault this young man. And so the thing is, you actually saw the really sad, insidious form of Schadenfreude. It was horrendous. It was horrendous. You saw people. It was like a feeding frenzy. Nothing gets people on the left. Nothing gets liberals more excited, perhaps even excited in every sense of the word, than to try to denigrate and condemn and judge others. That they live for that. There's nothing that Democrats live. Forget climate change or gun control or anything like that. They live to condemn and judge. They live to say that's morally, it's immoral. That's what they live for. That's what they live for. They don't realize though that nobody cares what they think. So that's one issue. The teenager became the focus of a national media firestorm after a number of news outlets took out-of-context video to make it look like he was mocking the Native American man, Nathan Phillips. He wasn't. In fact, it was the coveting students who were being verbally attacked. So they were the ones being verbally attacked. CNN contributor, wow, Bakari Sellers fantasized about punching Sandmann in the face. Wow, while a number of Hollywood celebrities like Kathy Griffin and Chelsea Handler piled on the students on social media. That's their lives. Kathy Griffin and Chelsea Handler will eventually be known more for piling on and trying to condemn Trump and anything to do with Trump than even what they're known for. And that's the case with all, like, Hollywood's, like, nobody cares what they think. Nobody cares what they think. Nobody. They have a platform, a momentary platform on social media. That's it. A momentary platform on social media. Okay. Because Twitter is not going to have the influence it has currently 5 years from now. Okay. So they're using this momentary platform because they think they're doing God's work, or they think they're doing some kind of moral, they're part of like this moral crusade against Trump. What they don't get is that 5 million people have been lifted out of poverty. 5 million. 43.1 million people in poverty in 2016 compared to 38.1 million in 2018. So millions of people have been lifted out of poverty. The poverty rate went from 12.7% to 11.3% under Trump. Record low unemployment, record low black and Latino unemployment. He signed the First Step Act. Wages are rising. Stock market is up. 300,000 plus manufacturing jobs compared to 300,000 plus lost under 8 years of President Obama. The economy is great. So it's a fantastic economy. Foreign policy is infinitely better. They go back and forth. They're like, we're the Cold War hawks against Russia. And then they're like, how dare Trump do this? Well, President Obama set the groundwork for what Trump did. I actually disagree with going after the leaders of countries. You don't want to go after high-level officials of countries because then if, God forbid, they do the same to us, it's all-out war. Because they don't have the means right now. Iran has a terrible recession. So all of this nonsense on CNN, the same network that settled for $275 million, and the other ones will settle, they didn't, very likely not $275 million, but at least $10 million. At least. But They say, oh, he's upended the Middle East. He's bringing us to the brink of... No, most of the countries in the Middle East actually were okay with it. That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm not going to go into the geopolitical issues right now. Most of the countries, including countries that don't like each other, were okay with it. Okay? Number one. Number two, whereas I wouldn't have engaged in that, the unintended consequences was the Iraqi parliament kicking us out. So he at least had President Trump's stated goal has always been to bring Americans home. So people were saying, "Oh, he's going to bring Americans home now." And then when the Iraqi parliament said bring Americans home, they then focused on, "Oh my God, he might actually bring home. We might leave that. It'll help Iran." It's like, no, Biden helped Iran with his voting alongside Cheney and Rumsfeld. But anyway, give me your thoughts below. This is a really tremendous, remarkable victory, not just definitely for Nick Sandmann, because God bless him, he probably went through a terrible, terrible ordeal, emotionally also. And he really fought, and he won. That's a major victory for somebody for a young person, a major, monumental victory that people will be talking about forever, actually. But it's also a victory for all Trump supporters. It really is. It's a victory for me. It's a victory for you. And, we all benefit because this world, what they've done is they've created their own Trump. Not the Trump that, if you took President Trump's achievements, an amazing stellar economy, a foreign policy that's infinitely less hawkish than Clinton, and first president to step foot in North Korea, you took all of these First Step Act, you took all these accomplishments, put a D next to them, a Democrat. Oh my God, the media would be like, this president's amazing. But they focus more on tweets than President Obama getting us into more countries and more militant action. Well, at least more countries than George W. Bush. Give me your thoughts below. It's actually a victory. This is a victory for all Trump supporters. And the reason is because media has been taken to task. Media has to admit now, all it does is spin and try to deceive and try to manipulate in the most conniving way possible. And they're very open. If anyone gets in their way, even a teenager, they'll try to destroy that person's life. Well, thank God this time around, it didn't work out. And it's like a monumental loss for media. Give me your thoughts below. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right this second, people. Thank you.